Stan, here we are in the man cave on a Sunday. I'm always on a Sunday. My wife wants me to do something industrious like cut the lawn, do the weeding, and I told her, nah, my mannequins have been arguing with each other, so I've got to come in here all afternoon and sort them out, at least till Air and Military Collectibles live streams finished at 6 o'clock or just after. So there you go, a full afternoon of fun. Now, excuse me, blow my nose, you might need to get yourself a cup of tea or something, because it might be a long video of this. I've had a very busy collecting week. So I'll start off with, this is a gift off fabulous YouTuber Jim Timber, but we'll get to that in a minute. Thanks, Jim, top bloke. Stop saying keep saying all the time, catch your breath. Right, so I've been buying again. I'm waiting on a frog for a bayonet, which I'll quickly show you in a minute. I bought what I believe to be a Czech VZ53 helmet, just like I'll get it down, show you quickly, just like that one, sort of SSH 40 style. It's in white with a big red star on it. I'm not sure, but I got that for a reasonable price. And I've also, I believe, again bought a World War II German signal and torch for about 11 quid off eBay. I think it is, I'm almost certain it is a World War II German one, and if it isn't, for just over a tenner, I'm not too bothered. So what else have I been doing? The mannequin over there, Ivan, has been a sort of foreign volunteer, but I couldn't really decide on putting any insignia on him, so what I did was Epic Militaria buy one from Soldier Fortune Epic Militaria, a couple of D-ring, D-loops, not D, square belt loops to go on the Austrian weapon, and I plumped for POA, Russian sort of volunteer, prisoner of war camp soldier, General Vlasov. Even though, having looked at my soldier uniforms of the Wehrmacht book by Brian L. Davis, the collar tabs are different on the majority of them, but it's my man cave. He's going to get that on his left sleeve, and that's it. So yesterday I went up to meet my fellow members of the Combined Forces Living History Group. They were up Blythe, which is just an hour away from me. A nice set of lads. Andrew Johnson, he's the only person I had contact with at first. Went up to meet him, introduced me to the rest of the lads. What a nice afternoon. I was up there for about 3 hours, I think, and they made me feel very welcome. Give me a cup of tea, some biscuits, let me handle an SLR, which I had never handled an SLR before I got a dry fire. I looked through the site, which was an impressive piece of kit. They let me have a go at hold on an M16 again, which I'd never done. And I had a handle of a pistol, which was a Denix replica, which had been aged to look the part, dry fire, etc. Now, I wasn't sure what the pistol was, actually, I should have asked. But it sort of made me think that I have got, as you know, replica air pistols. And I think for my purposes, I think a Denix replica pistol, as and when I buy one, a Makarov for this holster, I think that's the route I'd go, because I have a couple of target air guns, which I go to a range to shoot, and they're fit for purpose. I think some of these BB firing ones are a bit gimmicky, in my opinion, and very easy to break, as I've found out, because that's the type of person I am, clumsy. Right, so went up to see the lads, and Andrew, I mean, I said to him yesterday he shouldn't have, but he did. What a top lad. I'm going to do a separate video on it. He passed this along to me for my collection, and I've just seen a video on YouTube of it. It is a Swiss bayonet. There you go. I won't show it too much, because I will do a separate video on it. I'm getting the frog for it as well. That is a great piece of kit. I mean, thanks very much. He also passed on to me a couple of anniversary medals of victory, Russian victory. Look at them. Again, separate video I'll be doing on them. But I can't thank them enough for a real nice day. It's just a shame that I had something on in the night. It was an hour from my place, so I had to leave. So I think it was 2:30 or something like that I left. I am going to meet up with them at the Yorkshire, big Yorkshire event. Can't remember, the YWE, Yorkshire War Weekend or Yorkshire War event in August, and I'm hoping to get more involved in the sort of reenacting side of it. I believe John Shanahan will be there, so that'll be nice to meet him face to face. Andrew Johnson is the first person I've met face to face that I've known through the collecting, and military YouTube type channels. Prior to that, I'd only heard his voice, and I went up to him and I said, "Oh, are you Andrew?" He said, "Oh, no, you are." Obviously, I like to stick my ugly mug in front of the camera, but yeah, definitely. Thanks, Andrew and the lads, for making me feel very welcome and for the additions to my collection. So, also on my way home, I had to go nip into Tesco, and even though what I'm going to show you isn't relevant to my channel and most people won't be interested, I got this. So 50p I put in, and I'll just show you one little item in here. Now this, you see there that it's showing you where the currents run, and the I'm quite a, for those of you who don't know, I do a lot of free diving in the summer, and I'm not an expert by no means at all, but I have done it in various places around the world. And free diving, if you don't know, is just snorkeling basically, but obviously in the colder waters. If you're spearfishing sort of Australia, New South Wales, and in this country, you need a wetsuit, diving, a weight belt, fins, etc, etc, etc. And me spearfishing, well, I wasn't the greatest. I was all right grabbing all the lobsters. Spearfishing, if there's an art to it, that book, even though it's an old one, 1981, would be worth a read. And also, I've never been sure about tide times. And tide times I'm okay with when you go in the water, but the currents and stuff, that'll be an interesting book to read, because obviously there's a lot of danger in diving here. To be fair to myself, in Australia I was worried about the sharks. I didn't really think about the current much, but my point being that I dive in charity shops all the time. Don't write off Tesco bookshelves because of that, and the Odessa file by Frederick Forsyth. I think I've read it before, but I picked that up as well. Stuck £1 in the thing. So these little bookshelves are quite handy for picking items up. So get on with me point. Today's video. Do you like the little setup? I believe they are police badges. I think that one is on the left. East German passport, Makarov, and the belt, and of course the visor cap from my greatest friend, Jim Timber 2. There is 2 channels. What a great lad he is, and I cannot thank him enough. We've been doing a little bit of trading back and forwards, and Jim sent me this as well. He's already sent me the ammo pouches and the gas mask filter. He sent me this. I'll keep saying it, you shouldn't have, mate, but I'll never knock back a bit of DDR stuff, you know that. So I'm very, very, very appreciative, and it'll fit nicely in my collection. The only problem is now I've got this visor cap, I'll have to get the rest of the uniform. That'll be next payday. So what is it? This is a Vopo, or Deutsche Volkspolizei. Now forgive me before we start the video proper that I will butcher most of these pronunciations, but I'm doing my best. So what were the Deutsche Volkspolizei? So they're called DVP. Now the Russians did organise a police force in 1945 against the rules apparently, but in 1949 the Deutsche Volkspolizei were initiated in May 1949, before I believe East Germany became a country, and they were there till 1990. So German's People Police was a central national police body under the command of the Ministry of the Interior of the GDR. So founded in 1949, duties included protection, traffic and investigation, surveillance and administration activities. Now, those various branches, again with all these things, it's a very complicated subject, and I have obviously taken a few notes. You know what I mean? I'm not the brain of Britain, I'm not the brain of anything, but you have to take a few notes. And also, while I'm reading out my little notes, you learn yourself. So the various branches were the Kriminalpolizei, CID, Criminal Investigation Department, Railway Police Department, so that's the Transport Polizei, Registration Department, that was the Hauptbeleuchtung Pass und Melden. That was a mouthful. I think they all had Hauptbeleuchtung at the beginning, but I can't say that. Traffic Police, Verkehrspolizei, that must be vehicle in German. Uniform Police, the Schutzpolizei. Fire Department, Feuer, F-E-U-R, were Feuer. Yeah, can't pronounce that. Sorry. I mean, these bodies and were all linked together. The customs border, they were all under the control of the the DDR totalitarian regime, you know, the Stasi at the top of all your sort of security services. But I'm not going to look into the structure of that too much, because it's a complicated thing. We go on forever. So prior to 1956, there was a paramilitary police called the Kazanec Volkspolizei, barrack police. They were disbanded in 1956, and then later on the foundation that became the National Volksarmy. So following this, the Volkspolizei Bereitschaft, People's Police Alert Units, were created. They were for riot control and counterinsurgency. And again, with the, if I could ever learn how to edit, there was a nice and interesting photograph of all the People's Police Alert Units stood round, and when the Berlin Wall fell, they were obviously, if someone had hit the alarm bell, they'd have gone for it. Now, I don't know whether that cap is the same for them as it is for the Volkspolizei. So the manpower of the Volkspolizei was up to approximately 250,000 officers, 90,000 full-time, and 177,500 volunteers, approximately. As I mentioned earlier, the Barrack People's Police were the first armed body of the developing DDR, which they later became the NVA, or it was a foundation for it. So the constables, the officers of the constables are British terminology. The officers, police officers of the VP, Volkspolizei, were issued with a classic four-pocket tunic, which was more of the German style than the Soviet style, and especially in the early years. Also, the badges and additional decorations on the uniform were more likely to be a former German designs than Soviet. Now, I have mentioned this before in my videos that the East Germans were under the thought of themselves as being the real Germans, and that the West was only under occupation, which wasn't the truth, and they carried on all their traditions militarily and otherwise. So we'll have a little look at the cap. A nice, I suppose you'd call, thistle green. It's got the coat of arms there. I'm unsure whether this is actually an enlisted man, like a normal, just ordinary officer. Now, just before coming on to do the video, I did notice that there was one of these caps for sale on eBay, as you do your research, and it was the same colour as this, and they said it was some sort of visa regulation guard or something, but I'm 99.99% staking my reputation on it to Volkspolizei. So inside, again, East European stuff, always in teeny tiny non-steel helmet size. So 56, that's the head size, and it is letter code N. There is also some paper in there in German, but I took it out and had a look, and don't think it's anything worth. It's not any Stasi files or anything. So let's have a look at N. I do have over here size the age shot. So N 1989. A lot of this stuff is, I think, the early stuff. When I was talking to Andrew Johnson yesterday, he said that he'd been in the armed forces, the British Armed Forces, the early 90s in Germany, and there was just buckets and boxes in markets of this stuff laid about that nobody wanted for a couple of £. I have read that account, and I suppose no one thought it would be collectible. Well, it certainly is now. So that's me Volkspolizei visor cap, my little display set up there. So again, I'd like to thank the Combined Forces Living History Group for making me feel very welcome yesterday, and I'd like to thank my friend and fellow YouTuber Sir Jim of Timber. Great bloke. See, if you like your military a little bit more laid back, like Jim's the man to go and see, just like myself. Doesn't take himself too seriously, and he's a really nice fella. I've never met him face to face. You never know, one day we might. If we do, he can buy me a beer. But sent me that lovely gift, and it goes very nice in Steel Helmet Stand's collection of DDR stuff and Cold War surplus. Right, so that's me. I think my wife's just come home, so I better start looking like I'm busy, not just standing in here talking to Eric, Stanikin and Ivan. So that's me, Vopo Cap, courtesy of Jim, and yeah, that's me. I'll see you next week and have more stuff to show you. See ya.